One simple formula that if you use this, you will know if you have an Airbnb deal or an Airbnb dud. Make sure to like, subscribe, and if you're on the podcast, review. We need more reviews. We need more ratings. Let's get to this episode of the Fearless Flipping Podcast. If you want financial freedom, time freedom, and want to leave a legacy for generations to come, you probably have heard real estate investing is the place to do that. How do you get started? What do you have to do? When's the right time? If you are looking for those answers, you've come to the right place. My name's Kyle Stanley, and this is Fearless Flipping. My mission is to help you learn this business and conquer real estate investing. Hey guys, Kyle Stanley here, coming in from you, actually from Newport Beach, California. As you can see, I'm in a different setting. I don't even have my podcast equipment, so hopefully this is coming in clear. If you are hearing any audio issues, it's because I'm using some backup stuff that I just had around with me. So a combination of my phone and a little handy cam. But anyway, I'm excited today because right now I'm in Newport Beach, California. And I like to just kind of take a couple days away from the noise and away from the normal every once in a while. I think that's important for anyone that is in the entrepreneurial world. It's really easy to burn out. And if you don't force yourself to get out and to change your routine a little bit and just clear your mind, I think that some things can come up that, just you're not expecting. And so for me, it's very important to have that reset button every once in a while. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. And in doing this, one of the things that's always on my mind is how can I make things easier? How can I make things more comprehensive? How can I bring more value to everyone, including you, that is sitting here and digesting all this information that I am giving to you for absolutely free? So one of the things that I think I really love that we've created is this Airbnb calculator. But one of the things that I still think is missing from that, and I just added it to this, is this whole idea of how do you know if you have a deal or not? And, you can look at what you're going to make every single month. You can look at what your expenses are going to be. You can look at what the rent's going to be. You can look at what you think you might make. But at the end of the day, is that a deal or is that a lot of risk and potential of disaster? And so what I've done is I've created a formula that's going to spit out a number for you that if you have this number or higher, then you've got the potential for a deal. And that number, all I need you to remember, if you remember nothing else, remember this number in this podcast. It is the number 33%. 33% is exactly what you're going to be looking at when it comes down to dividing the net profit into the gross profit. If you have a net profit that is 1/3 of the gross profit, then you've got a deal. Now, let me break that down and tell you how I've come to that conclusion that that is a good deal. The reason I even brought this up is because I'm here in town. I'm actually staying at one of my mentors' houses. His name's Nate Secor. You've probably seen him. We've talked about his course on our show. We've talked about a lot of things with Nate because he's one of the contributing factors to my success here in Airbnb. And one of the things that he was mentioning as I'm actually staying in this Airbnb is how different the expenses are for this one versus one that's in Fresno, California. So I'm sitting in one that right now, Nate would have to pay about $5,000 of rent before he even starts renting this thing out. So he's lease arbitraging. So back up for a second. I'm looking at giving you the lease arbitrage Airbnb or the formula. If you are looking for management or for owning an Airbnb, different formula. What I'm talking about today is just arbitrage. So when it comes to managing, you've got a different formula that you're going to be using based on what that landlord wants. When you got an ownership model, one of the great things about that is that you're earning income in 4 different ways. One of the things that we talk about all the time before getting off into too much of a tangent, that's the benefit of an ownership. But when we talk about lease arbitrage, we're only getting cash flow and we're only concerned about our return. And so when we are only concerned about our return, we need to know, is it a safe return or is it a risky return? So backing up again, Nate pays $5,000 for this location. This same location for me in Fresno, California is I'm almost looking at the exact same replica of one of my houses that the mortgage is $1,130. So almost 5 times the amount that he's paying in Newport Beach that I'm paying in Fresno, California. So if I'm cash flowing $1,000 at that location, which I'm actually cash flowing more, but if I'm cash flowing $1,000 there, and then Nate takes that same model over here and says, I need to cash flow $1,000 here, is that more risky or less risky? I hope you know that that is more risky because there's not as much of a spread. When we are making $1,000, but we're spending $5,000, that means our return on our investment is 20%, okay? 1,000 divided into 5,000 is 20%. Versus me, if I make $1,000 and my mortgage is $1,100, that's like a 90% return on my investment. I hope you're understanding this so far. So now that's one way of looking at it. However, I've made it even simpler for you. And I've created a formula that if you just divide the net profit into the gross profit and you get 33% or higher, then you have yourself a potential deal. So now let's take this same place that I'm in right now. Nate is getting right around $10,000 gross income every single month from this place. Now, $10,000 of gross, $5,000 of expenses so far just from rent, but let's add in another 10% occupancy tax that he has, which I don't have in Fresno. We were kind of talking about that. He's not excited about his occupancy tax. I am excited that we don't have that. So then after occupancy tax, he's got about $500, $600 right around there in all of those, regular expenses that you're going to get every single month, from gas and electric to water bill to pest control, landscaping, all that kind of stuff. Maybe $500 on a really bad month, especially here when it's really nice weather. He's not using the AC and the heat and all that kind of stuff nearly as much as someone like me or someone like you, maybe in a colder climate place. But altogether, that's $6,500 worth of expenses, and his overall gross is $10,000 minus the $6,500. That's $3,500 in net. So let's go $3,500 divided by 10,000. That is a 35% net to gross ratio. And that right there means that it's over 33%. He's got himself a deal. And why do we come to that conclusion? Well, let's say that 1 month something happens out of his control. Someone blasts the AC for 3 weeks. They're here all 3 weeks and they're blasting the AC the whole time. And suddenly that, usual $200 AC bill is now like $800. Let's say that a repair needs to happen and the landlord is not okay with it. It's what it's doing, guys, is it's cushioning that expense. So when we have vacancy, okay, that's one of our biggest expenses is vacancy, or a slow season where we have to drop the rates. So if our only goal was $1,000 of cash flow, then suddenly those vacancy, occupancy, lower rates are hurting us really bad, because in my case, I might only have to drop $10 a night. I might only have, instead of 90% occupancy, 80% occupancy, which means that I'm going to lose, maybe a few $100s. Well, if Nate here in town loses 10% occupancy and has to drop his rate, he's not dropping it just $10 a night. He's dropping it $40, $50 a night because he's getting a lot more. So everything is ratioed, where if he is only trying to plan on $1,000 of cash flow when he's paying $5,000 of rent, he's setting himself up for disaster. So that's why if you have a deal right now and you're looking at it and you're thinking, oh, cool, I'm going to cash flow $1,000 a month, but you're spending more than $3,000 to $4,000 in expenses, that's not a good deal. So once again, you go to our Airbnb calculator on our site, fearlessflipping.com/Airbnb host. You download it. Now there's a section right down at the bottom that says net to gross ROI or ratio, whatever you want to call it. And as you put in all your numbers, that number at the end, if it reads 33% or higher, you've got yourself a potential deal. Now, I say potential because you need to make sure along all of these lines that you are evaluating these properties correctly. Are you using tools like AirDNA? AirDNA is one of the most no-brainer tools that you can use if you're getting started in Airbnb. I don't even get paid by AirDNA, so I just need you to understand that. You can start to evaluate properties based on the size, based on the location. You can look at comparable properties and listings in the area that will show you exactly what they're renting out for on a nightly basis. One of the caveats I will tell you is that their nightly rates also include the cleaning fee, so you have to factor that in. But all I'm saying is, if you are not evaluating these properties correctly, it doesn't matter what numbers you end up getting because you're not evaluating it correctly. So you get basically 2 steps, very easy here, that I'm going to give you that's very attainable. If you have properties that you're looking at right now, all you need to do is, number 1, download AirDNA. Make sure that you understand that system so that you can start to comp these listings a lot better. And number 2 is just download the Airbnb profit calculator from our website, fearlessflipping.com/Airbnb host. And now with that new formula down at the bottom, if you see 33% or higher after you've comped the properties, put in all your expenses, and it spit out 33% or more, then you've got a great deal. Now, let me get you really excited here for a second, because I just told you about how 33% is doable. Well, let's talk about a place that I'm getting way more than 33% in. So again, you know that I talk about all the time my mother-in-law hack, where I take another opportunity on the property to add another unit and to be able to put in more income into my pocket with only still one set of expenses. So I have a place, and I don't have the numbers in front of me. Again, guys, I'm going off the cuff here since I'm here in Newport, but I've got a place that, again, it's very similar to this one, except for we converted the detached garage into another unit. And I have someone in there that is now giving me $600 of rent every single month, which it should have been $800 to $1,000, but they're getting a great deal by just managing and keeping that place clean so that I don't have to worry about cleaning expenses. So my gross income there in December was $4,200. $4,200 is what I ended up spending, what I ended up getting in gross. And after all expenses, I kept $2,900. Now, I don't know those numbers off the top of my head. If you're watching on the YouTube channel, I just probably flashed the ROI there with the net to gross income. But that is well over 33%. That's going into, 29 to 42. That's going into like the 60, 70, close to 80% range, where if you can get there, good Lord, like not only do you have an amazing deal for this, but you have an amazing deal for any sort of market, long-term, traveling nurses, anything like that. The more gap that you have from your net income to your gross income, from your net income to your expenses, but also the closer that your net income and your gross income are, the more opportunity that you have to be able to withstand low occupancy, withstand any sort of issues that your city may arise with Airbnb. Those are the things that you need to be looking at as you go into deals so that you are preparing for worst case scenarios. And that's why I love, for me, even though 33% is what I'm preaching here, at the very minimum, like you should be set hard on that. Even if it's 32%, you're like, I don't know, Kyle said 33%. So that's where I want your mind to be, because really the goal is like 50% or more. If you can get to there, then you know you've got a phenomenal deal. 33% should be like the rock bottom. So again, just go to Airbnb, our Airbnb profit calculator. Make sure to go to fearlessflipping.com/Airbnb host. Get that, download that, and then when you go to actually comp a property, if you don't have AirDNA, you're missing out right now because you're just doing a lot of speculating. There's a lot of numbers that you're not seeing at just the surface level when it comes to a lot of people who are posting their listings on Airbnb in general. So, guys, I hope this has been of great value. I hope that when it comes down to it, everything that I'm doing is to provide more value for you. And just to give you another call to action, if you don't feel like you quite grasp it, if you don't feel like you quite understand yet, you are just one click away from booking a call with me, and I can answer any of your questions. So right there on that Airbnb host page, there's an opportunity to be able to go down to the bottom and book a call with me. If you just want to go straight to the source, it's just fearlessflipping.com/consultation, and you can book a call with me. We can get on the phone for 15 to 20 minutes, answer all of your questions. Heck, even if you have a profit calculator that is already comped out on a deal, and you just want to see, hey, is this deal correct? Am I looking at this the right way? Send it my way, and I'll go ahead and take a look at it. We can get on the phone and just evaluate it together. So I hope you all have been given the tools today to go out and conquer Airbnb investing. We will see you next time.